Good morning. So today I wanted to talk to those of us who are out there who are struggling with what I call codependent remorse. Those of us who are waking up and realizing that we live below the veil of consciousness for many years in a reactive state, people pleasing, not being honest about who we really were because we didn't know who we were. Trying to get the approval of others, and who were frustrated and full of anxiety lots of the times, and so detached from the self. But we were detached from the self because in most cases we came from emotionally neglectful homes, unpredictable homes where there was invalidation of who we are and who we were. Our feelings were irrelevant, and we grew up and became people who did not know how to honor ourselves. And we became very centered in our ego, trying to, get our own needs met, but we did not go about getting our needs met in a healthy way. So we thought that taking care of people was the way, or being the best mom was the way, or the best dad, or, being the peacemaker was the best way. And, always being there for everybody else but ourselves, feeling guilty for other people, taking on the responsibilities of other people, and we lost ourselves. I know for me as a mom, the toughest part of my recovery was acknowledging, the times when I was a reactive mom and I wasn't the best mom and I wasn't the best self. And I'm just getting choked up thinking about it. This morning I was journaling, and I think it's important that we know how to take care of ourselves today as adults, and we know how to correct ourselves, and we know how to quiet our minds, and we know how to get back into alignment with love. Because when you're codependent, you're out of alignment with love, right? You are love. And when you're codependent, you're not in alignment with the self. That's not your fault, but as adults who are living above the veil, and as parents who want to do better for their children, we need certain life skills to help us along the way. And getting up early, set what I call setting my emotional tone. I talk about it in Quantum Tools to help you heal your life now. I'm really big on waking up early and meditating and journaling and getting to the feeling space of me. It's so important for codependents to return to the feeling space. Figure out how we feel. Figure out how to honor how we feel. To think about how we feel. Right? We're not very intellectual when it comes to our feelings. We're not very cognitive when it comes to our feelings. We react to our feelings without really even thinking about the way we feel. And to realign ourselves with love, we have to get better at paying attention to how we feel. So this morning, what I want to share with you is that I was journaling about the fact that the world never stops spinning. Today I'm recording this on 9/11. I'm a New Yorker. I was there. I witnessed what happened in my city on 9/11, and my kids were there, and jets flying over our heads, over our houses, and we watched the city burn from across the water, and it was a devastating day. But I look back and I see, my God, no matter what happens in life, the world just keeps on spinning. Now my son is married, my daughter is engaged, and my little one is in love. She's 22 and she's in love. And I think back and I say to myself, the world never stops spinning. And, as people who are becoming more aware and healing from codependency, it's so important that we still our minds and that we think about our lives, from the observer space. And we always understand that we must return to love, right? Today, it just so happens that I'm journaling on 9/11. It just so happens that as I'm journaling about where I was many years ago on 9/11 when my children were small, I'm taking into account everything that happened in between that time space. Some things were good and some things were not very good. And I can tell you that the more below the veil I was, the less perfect of a mom I was. I made so many mistakes, especially with my son being highly reactive. I just wish I was more patient. I wish that I wasn't so rigid. I wish that I wasn't so anxious. I wish that I wasn't so reactive. I was so damn reactive, I had so little understanding of my emotions, and I didn't know how to process them. And I realize now that a lot of damage was done. And I dedicate my life every day to undoing that damage. And there are some things that we can repair with our children, but some things that we can't, not on our own. But what I do now, because my son doesn't live with me anymore, when I have an opportunity to talk to him, I do. And it's because I have these moments of reflection where I'm thinking about, oh, I wish I was better at that. And how I deal with that in the now is that I journal about it. I get in touch with my feelings about it. And then I get quiet. I still my outer mind. And I kick Alice out of my office right now. She's snoring. But what I do is I still my outer mind. So it's very, very quiet. It's very dark in my office. And then I do some deep breathing. And when I'm I feel really, really relaxed, what I do then is I call my son. I know it sounds hokey pokey, but it works for me. I call my son into my vision, into my mind. And I imagine that he's standing in front of me. And I say, I grab his hands. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. And I tell him, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you for being my son. Thank you for living with me and, through this life experience. And thank you for being my teacher. I love you. I'm sorry that I made so many mistakes. I'm sorry that I ever hurt you. I'm sorry that I didn't understand. I wish I had done better. I wish I was more aware. I love you with all of my heart. Again, I'm so sorry. And you bring whoever it is into your mind. If you're struggling as a parent, or struggling with anything, with a spouse or whatever, a sibling or whatever, we're all unconscious and we're all each other's teachers. And I think that it's a great exercise for all of us to do to help us resolve some of the stuff that is residual from being born into a world that is unconscious, to a brain that is more unconscious than it is conscious. We also have to give ourselves a break in this idea that there's a default mode network in the brain. We are born to be more on autopilot than we are to be conscious. Consciousness is something that we have to work towards, and it doesn't happen by itself. You literally have to work at being conscious. It's a practice. It's a habit. And if you're not practicing the habit of consciousness, and journaling can help you do that, if you're not practicing the habit of becoming more conscious, then you will stay unconscious and you will stay reactive. The thing is, though, as you become conscious, as a parent who begins to understand, oh my God, what kinds of things have I done? To my children in my unconsciousness. Was I married to an alcoholic, and did I stay? Did I know my spouse was being abusive, and was I too afraid to say anything? Did I not show up there for my children? Did I abandon my children emotionally? Did I not understand what they were going through? When you start waking up, this is the stuff that you realize as a parent, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And so, but it's all part of the awakening process. And the spiritual awakening, some people think it's like this wonderful feeling. It's awful sometimes. It's painful to spiritually awaken. It's like the Matrix. Like, what? What's going on here? Like, what? And who was I? And where have I been? Where have I been? That was a big one for me. Where the frig have I been? And so I just want to encourage anybody out there, any parents who are struggling with waking up and understanding codependency and understanding how codependency is rooted in unconsciousness, it's rooted in shame. We become reactive, and we become people pleasers, and we take care of people. And in the process, sometimes we don't understand that our stuff makes it difficult for us to show up for our children as much as we should have. And it can be difficult to process as a maturing soul. And so this video is just my way of encouraging you to get up early, to find your little space, and to make time to meditate. Think about where you've been, think about where you want to go, and to make peace with what has been, so that you are no longer tortured by things that you can't change. And you focus on, what can I do now? So you ask for forgiveness, you journal about it, and you just try to do better every day. If your children come to you and they're angry at you, honor that. Say, I understand why you're angry, and it's okay. Give them some space. Love them unconditionally, and hopefully they'll come back. I've gone through that with my kids where they needed to stay away, and it was painful, but I had to give them that space. When I put myself in their shoes, that's what I would have wanted my mother to do. I never had that opportunity with my parents. They never got to that conscious space. It's okay. It's totally fine. It's totally okay. It's totally okay. I don't have no expectations anymore. My mom has passed away on my birthday. My dad is still here, but I know we're never going to get to that space, and I don't need it anymore. I don't need it. I've figured it out, and it's all good. So this stuff ain't easy, but I just wanted to say namaste to any parents out there who are struggling with becoming more awake. You're not alone. I travel this path with you. So namaste as I bow to the love and light that is absolutely in you. Bye for now. Until next time.